Hey everybody, welcome to Games Never Finished. Vicious Grandma here, and thank you for tuning in. This is pre-recorded, so this is not live, but definitely be kind of following along, watching the chats, be chatting with you as this premiere is going on. But just wanted to give an update. Just finished beating Banjo Kazooie. Obviously, my impressions of the game has changed from when I first played it many years ago to now. So I'm going to begin by talking about another game that I haven't beaten yet that I'm going to try to finish, and that is the game Dark Cloud 2. Now, before I get into Dark Cloud 2, I want to talk about the first in the series, which is Dark Cloud 1. Now, Dark Cloud 1 is one of those games that I also never finished, but there's kind of a reason why I'm choosing Dark Cloud 2 over Dark Cloud 1. So to kind of give some backstory, let's talk about Dark Cloud 1. So Dark Cloud 1, basically the story is that there's this evil genie that's been unleashed and basically destroys life on Earth as we know it. However, as this genie's destroying everything, you then have, I guess it could be like a god figure, a divine figure, who kind of traps all these things in these round spheres called Atla. And the hero is supposed to kind of go into these dungeons, recover this Atla, which then helps kind of rebuild these towns or this world. What was interesting about this game is that it reminded me a lot of the Quintet series, Soul Blazer, that came out on the Super Nintendo, probably one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo. So it was very interesting, same concept. You're going around, you're releasing things, and you're rebuilding these cities, which you have this device called the Georama. Now, the game was released right around the time when the PlayStation 2 got released. I don't believe it was a release title, but it was a very fun game. But there was also a lot of problems with this game. So to kind of basically make a long story short, some of the things I didn't like was that your dungeons always kept changing. And that makes it very hard, especially when you're trying to complete a level, or if you're going and you can't finish it, you want to go back and try to unlock more Atla. Sometimes it would switch. So every time you had to go through the entire dungeon again, just to make sure you get everything as you continue to progress through this dungeon. So that was a bit frustrating, but in most cases, it wouldn't have been a deal breaker. The biggest issue that I had with this game was a thing called the thirst meter. Now, the thirst meter is when you were in the dungeon, you had your health points, and then you had your thirst meter. And basically, as you are battling, as you are fighting monsters, this thirst meter will start to drain. And you can recover that by finding pools of water. You can go jump in there and be fully refreshed. Other times, you would have to bring water with you to drink. Now, what happens is if your thirst meter goes to 0, then your health starts going away. And if your health starts going away, then you cannot finish, then you start to die. And what made it frustrating with that aspect is that sometimes there'd be certain levels where you didn't have water. Other times, the only source of water was far away. And the other thing is sometimes there would be ailments that would hit you that would just drain your thirst meter a lot faster. So that was frustrating. The other frustrating thing is your inventory was very limited. So it seemed like a lot of times you were always going in dungeons and coming out of dungeons based because of your inventory needs. So that was very frustrating. The other thing is that your weapons had hit points as well. And if you're using a weapon and your weapon breaks, well, then you're done. You don't have a weapon, which means if you're in the heat of battle and your weapon breaks, you're screwed, which kind of becomes a big issue, and then that's not good. The other thing is once you unlocked all this Atla, you would then have your what's it called? the diorama that would kind of create the village. And the way that you would have to do it is when you would put like houses or trees or windmills or whatever in this space that you unlock, in order to kind of get like perfect, you have to recreate it exactly the way it's supposed to be. And a lot of times by talking to NPCs, you would find that out and you try to piece them together. But sometimes that became very difficult, and all you want to do is just kind of create everything and go to the next level. So with that being, and then the other thing is the only way you upgraded your weapons was you kind of merged other weapons together, which sometimes you can get better weapons, other times you get crappy weapons, and especially during the days before you had like online guides or walkthroughs, sometimes it was very hard to figure out what weapon you needed or how strong your weapon. But even then, even you can have a strong weapon, but then once your hit points go down on your weapon, then you lose your weapon and you have to recreate it over again. So there was a lot of frustrating challenges in this game, but overall it was a pretty fun game. Story was interesting too, but again, with a lot of those frustrations I talked about, I never finished the game. Then came Dark Cloud 2. In Dark Cloud 2, basically all the frustrating things I had about the first game totally wiped it out. And it was interesting. There was 2 playable characters, a male character, a female character. The story seemed to be a lot better. And what I mean by that is it seemed like a lot of times you have a story and then you're dungeon crawling, grind in Dark Cloud 1, which you kind of start losing focus of the story. Where in Dark Cloud 2, it was just a very evenly paced thing throughout when you're recovering Atla, when you're rebuilding things. Also, there wasn't like a specific, you have to rebuild this village specifically to a certain thing to unlock the most rewards. Everything for the most part was pretty good, pretty kosher, and it was absolutely a blast. And I love this game. I rented it back when GameFly first started. It was one of the first games I ever rented. Loved it. Owned the game. Then my PS3 broke after I progressed pretty long, and I lost all my save stuff. And so that's why I never finished it, because I was really on track to really try to beat this game. And when my PlayStation 3 finally broke, and then I had to go get another one that didn't do the backwards compatible PlayStation 2 stuff on it, there was nowhere to go. But luckily, they released Dark Cloud 2 on the PlayStation 4. I think I actually might even have it on the PlayStation 3 as far as one of their digital things. But no, it was on the PlayStation 4. Immediately bought it, so I'm excited to play this game. I'm excited to go back and really dive deep into this game. And again, if you've never heard of Dark Cloud 2, it's a fun game, believe me, and that's what I'm going to show you on this next playthrough. So again, I'll be starting that up pretty soon. Hopefully everything will be well, and I'm looking forward to sharing this experience with you guys. All right, so stay tuned. I'll usually be on. I really don't really pick days, just because some days I have meetings, some days I have rugby practice. So it's kind of hard on what evenings I actually will play, but I will try to get on there and play. And usually, I'm sure this game's probably going to take, especially starting from scratch, probably going to take about, maybe 60 hours to complete. I'm not sure, maybe sooner, just depending on how fast I play through it. All right, guys, again, thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for supporting this channel. And I can't wait to dive right in and start this game. All right, hope you guys are having a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.